Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Heel Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Mike. Um, we're going to be talking about the latest well, actually, I think it's the first trailer. Granted, it's a teaser trailer of Eyes of Wakanda. We
Yep.
will also be talking about the series finale of Ironheart, and moving on with a character spotlight from Mike. So let's get right into this. Eyes of Wakanda.
So
I
that
didn't
was
think
just like a sneak peek of what's to come. It really didn't show too much.
I think it gave us more than I think you realize, and I think once I say it, you'll be like, "Well, duh."
Well,
Um,
one of the things that I saw that stood out was the purple coming off of the bracelets.
mhm.
Um,
Which is the thought is vibranium, obviously.
yeah. Um, we obviously got the announced date of August 27th. I don't remember if we knew that or not. We knew it was coming out this year. I
I
just don't
think we I
remember the
think we knew
exact date.
August. I think we it's been told August for a while, and we never got told specifically when.
Mhm.
But no, you're right. This is the first time I think we got a number to it because we only had in my I remember it being like August Wakanda, Halloween, like they said October for Marvel Zombies, and
Yep.
then December for actually I think they said holiday 2025, which to me would have been either I would think Thanksgiving slash Christmas. My assumption is Christmas, but that doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is what we're definitely thinking about for now. But that being said, um, I think it also was the point, and I don't remember if they like talked about it. Maybe they did at D D23. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah, D23. Yep.
I believe that they talked about it briefly in stating that this is going to be like the other sides of Wakanda that we
Yeah.
haven't seen, which we kind of figured anyway. But I guess we're going to be seeing it full on. But they still never gave us a time frame of like where this exists. We're assuming modern-ish times, but it's hard to tell because it's Wakanda, and they like to their outfits are very much tribal, which makes it very difficult to figure out if it's
Yeah.
present day or past.
Hmm.
Um, but we will have to wait and see, obviously. Um, what else was I gonna say? But that was pretty much it. I mean, the animation looked fine. I mean, I didn't see anything all that crazy or anything else.
The classic Marvel
That's good.
animation that they've been doing. So
I mean, I
with the
kind of
MCU stuff, it's been kind of consistent with
did we
that.
know
So
did we know that is this six? This is 6 episodes, correct?
no, it's four.
Oh, it's even less. It's even
Yeah,
less.
yeah,
So it's gonna be all at once, all four.
probably.
Um,
It's this and Marvel Zombies is 4 episodes,
I'm
which we
pretty.
knew for a while.
No, Marvel Zombies. I remember you saying four. I don't remember Eyes of Wakanda. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I do remember you saying zombies, and I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, I also get it. It's weird. That being said, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's going to be something interesting. I would be very curious if they actually do it one episode per week because they definitely haven't said it.
You cut out there for a second, so
No,
I
I
didn't
said
hear that
I
last
would be
part.
very, I'd be very, it would be very cool if they actually did one episode per week. But I also they haven't
Yeah,
announced that, so we don't know.
depends on
Um,
how long the episodes are. I think they said it's supposed to be like an hour long, 1 hour, 4 episodes. So that would, with that would work for breaking it up into 4 weeks. If it was like 20-minute episodes, then just it wouldn't be worth it. Just release all 4 episodes at that point. But
no, I get your point. No, I definitely do. I think you have a point there. It's just one of those things where we still don't know a lot about it.
no, we don't.
Um, and I'm very much looking forward to it because we don't know anything about it. But I'm
Hmm.
very curious to see where they're going to go with it. But let us talk to about the biggest thing of all was Ironheart, the series finale. Now, I don't, I there was a, I hope you understood. So I went talking to Mike. I said text me after every episode because I had a wave of emotions, and I hope you know why. Because they
Well,
kept
they kept teasing Mephisto for you, and every episode I'm like, oh, is he finally getting revealed? And then when
No,
he finally
no, no.
showed
It's
up,
even worse. No, no, no. When it was was even worse when they go, "Oh yeah, it's Dormammu." I went, "I swear
Oh,
to God, it's
yeah.
Dormammu. I am canceling Disney Plus. I'm getting rid of every. I
As
never
soon
don't
as
want
soon as
another
they showed
Marvel
that, I
movie."
was so confused. I was like, "There's no way that they're gonna pull this swerve."
Well, but remember too, this was supposed to come out right, like this was finished filming, or this started filming right after they finished filming Wakanda Forever. So
Yeah.
like this would have been a huge reveal of it being
Oh yeah.
Mephisto. That was one of my biggest complaints about this, like those 3 episodes, was they heavily made it seem like, who is he? Oh my gosh, what is he? We already knew, so it was a little bit of like, they did such a great job of building it up in the show,
Mhm.
but I felt it was wasted because they waited so long to release it.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things. In actuality, it was one of those things where because Mephisto has been teased for so long that when we
It still
finally got
worked.
him, it was like, yeah, it still worked, and it was one of those things where it still worked, but at the same time, it was like, oh, it's about time he showed up. It was like that double edged sword.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? I don't know about you, but so we're gonna be jumping around on this. I apologize, but when I first, so we see the silhouette of him, I immediately go, "That's Mephisto. That is the guy. That's him. No, that's him.
No, he's
That's the
finally
actor.
here. This is
That's
this is
the
him.
actor. That's the actor. I mean, we're here. We're there. We're ready." And oh, so good. First off, love him as an actor. Love him as the devil. Oh, love it. Chef's kiss.
I
But
loved his range in emotions, or like the range that he
so
had there.
well, the fact that he starts off being like, "You are gonna be a king," and then my
Yep.
personal favorite is he's like, "How do I look?" And he's like, "You look like shit, but you're gonna look like a king soon enough."
Uh
And
huh.
I'm just like, ah, so good, so manipulative. Love it. And I
Oh yeah.
also love the change in his accent. His accent
Yep.
changed
Yeah.
on,
The accent changed
but
throughout
on
all of it.
purpose because he's a god.
Hmm.
He literally is. Granted, I know he's the devil, but like in that realm, he is a god.
Hmm. I loved that when Riri first saw him, and it's like, okay, yes, I know you're Dormammu. I can kick your ass, no problem. And he's like, you think I'm Dormammu? That's so cute. Yeah, I'm a
I wrote
much
something like,
bigger problem than him.
he doesn't even earn the right to wipe my own ass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he says it arse, but
It
yes.
was. I was like, wow. Okay, talk
Well,
about power play.
they went, but again, Mephisto would like
um.
realistically, like regardless of whether it's true or not. I do think he is stronger than Dormammu, but the idea is, regardless, Mephisto would be like,
He thinks he is.
no, no, 100%. But what I'm saying is like, let's take away the logistics of him actually being stronger, because he
Yeah.
might be. I'm not going to say otherwise.
Yeah. You
But
don't know for sure, but
no, but my whole thing is, it's like he would say that regardless of
yeah.
whether or not it was true. Um, but no, that was so good. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you that I am very curious on, okay? Because I know you enough to know you don't know the answer, but I'm wondering if you recognize the voice. So you know the witch, um, the female girl, the one
Oh
who did
yeah.
the magic,
Okay.
her
Yep.
mother. Does her mother's voice sound familiar to you?
Her voice sounded very familiar, but I
Okay.
couldn't.
So she is the voice of your childhood, Michael, whether you knew it or not. So you ready for this? She's number 5 in Kids Next Door.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And oh, I wish I was done, Mike. I wish I was done. And she played Susie in Rugrats.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
those are just the big ones. There's been other ones she's done too, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
those are like the big ones that I knew for sure you would know. And I
No,
was
I'm
like,
like I'm hearing this voice. And I'm like I can pinpoint this, but I
the
can't
funny thing
picture
is,
this.
so for me, it was like, she looks familiar, but the voice doesn't match her face of what I was expecting. You know what I mean? Like when I first saw her in the first, because we see her in the first 3 episodes,
Yep. Yep. We do.
Very
Yep.
briefly, but we do see her.
When Riri got home from college. Yep.
Correct, correct. So my whole thing was just like, she looks familiar, but then when she started talking more, I'm like, I gotta know who this woman is. Like, there's no way I don't. And like the first things that pop up are those, and I was like, so she was a big hit on Nickelodeon, um, obviously,
Hmm.
and actually Cartoon Network, because I keep forgetting, Kids Next Door was not that Nickelodeon. It was Cartoon Network, but
That's right. That's right.
no. So that killed me. Like that messed with me big time because I was not prepared for that. Um, I also love the fact that we hear about Carmitage, because I'm assuming you know what that is.
Yep. Yep. Well, all that the mystic arcs, and they name drop Doctor Strange, and
And
obviously the
Dormammu,
war.
and which also explains why they go with Dormammu
Yep.
because that's the only one,
She originally got her training from Carmitage,
which
and
is where they dealt with protecting the world from Dormammu.
yep.
Um,
I
so
like when they I like before we got over to there. Um, I liked the down to earth feel between Riri and her mother,
yes,
with it, like just with everything. Like it was very. It wasn't like
so well
show
done.
staged. It was just very well done in terms of like it felt real, because like a mother daughter relationship.
Well,
And I loved that Riri wanted to protect her mother, so she gave her the watch. And the comment about when Riri busted open the door in the suit because she heard the gunshots, and when they're talking about it after, it just made the you came busting through my door like the Kool-Aid man. And I actually had a good laugh out of that, because I was like, that's just the pure comedy out of it.
but at the same time, and I know this is going to sound weird too, but it's like, although this particular thing has never happened, right? Meaning like
Mm,
this particular instance, I guarantee that similar situations of Riri doing something similar, not to this degree, obviously, not to this degree, but like her
mm.
technology doing something she wasn't expecting is
Oh
not
yeah,
new to her.
no,
So it's like I still think it's one of those things where it's like surprised but also not at the same time. And I know that's
yeah,
very weird to say, but I feel like it's true. Where it's like, although she's never had a watch that does puts herself in a literal cone, she's seen Riri build stuff like way
yeah.
worse.
They mention it about how she's used to her building stuff, and go
Yes.
whatever. And now, just recently, it's gotten out of hand.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that I love about the relationship is she doesn't like pry to like a detrimental degree. She just says, "I want you to talk to me." And the
Yeah,
moment Riri is like avoiding the conversation, she stops because she's like she knows she's not going to get the answer, so why is she going to waste her time? And
she only started pressuring more towards the end,
when
because
it
things were
started
getting
getting
so bad.
when things were starting to get really weird,
Yeah.
but my point I'm making is the 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 showing of her mother and everything else in that was so well done,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was incredible. The other piece, right? So, excuse me, when Parker puts the hit out on Riri,
Yep. Yep.
that one gets me the most, especially the fact that it's at a Dairy Queen. I don't know why. I have no idea why Dairy Queen made me laugh, but the Dairy Queen fight was incredible.
It wasn't a Dairy Queen.
What was it?
It was they called it White Castle.
Oh, it is a White Castle. I'm so sorry.
I'm
You know
like,
what? I'm thinking of Guardians. My bad. No, so I'm sorry, White Castle, but I still find it funny. It's still
so the twins, they were brother and sister, not.
I yes, I learned that. I learned that
Yeah.
during that episode. I was not aware of that.
Yep.
I had no problem with it, obviously, but I just
No,
thought
no. When I saw that, I was like, I thought Scott said that they were both
I
female,
thought
and
they
I
were
thought they were too. But
I thought they were, and I was wrong, and I am glad to admit that. Um, however, it works. It still worked.
I loved the fight scene between them, and that whole situation. I thought that was.
The whole fighting without her suit was good too. That
Yeah.
gave me so much Iron Man 3 vibes,
Hmm.
but in a good
Finding
way.
finding finding ways to
But in a good way.
improv in the situation, or you know what I mean.
No, no, absolutely.
Um, Making use of her surroundings and whatnot. And then, I
And
mean, even
outsmarting
putting Dot.
and outsmarting her opponents too.
Yep.
Being like, I give up. Just end it really quick and then lock them up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's great.
And
Also,
then
I don't know if you
manipulating
noticed.
Clown and whatever to.
Can we also talk about though the fact that during her fight with Clown, we see the twins in their bubble still, moving around trying to escape.
Oh, I didn't actually pay attention to that.
So in the background, in some of the windows, we could see them like trying to figure out how to get out, and I don't know why. Granted, it's in the middle of a fight scene, so it's not like it's meant to be the main focus. But because I see it twice, because I show my aunt, um, who is 84, she loves the stuff. But anyway, I get to watch it in more detail because I've already seen it, obviously.
Yeah, now
So
you're
all,
looking at
so
other
all of a sudden
stuff.
I'm going. They were in the background the whole damn time, and it was
I
awesome.
knew that when they were when she was behind the kitchen throwing, I saw the bubble in the background, but I wasn't paying attention to that because I was looking at the more forefront for the action,
No,
so
no,
I didn't
obviously,
see what they were doing.
no, I get that, I get that.
Um, but yeah, no, I thought that was that would it would make sense that they were trying to escape because
Oh no, no, 100%. I just think that was so cool. I
yeah.
also like watching Clown use explosives and stuff like that. Granted, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I thought it was great. I also love that Slug was the one to go after the suit.
Mm-hmm.
I also find it hilarious that they only used a magnet.
Oh yeah,
Um,
giant magnet.
no, I know, but I just find that to be funny. I don't know why, but to me that was hilarious. Um,
I
Also,
thought it was interesting that they knew that the suit and her were going to be separated because
that's a good
they.
point. Well, you know what? I'll say this. I have a feeling they were watching her and knew that they were separated. So I imagine that they were going to go together as a group, realized that she was not with her suit, and Slug went to go find the suit. Because remember, they are
Okay.
smart enough to have done that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but also Ezekiel Stain.
yeah. To turn into half machine.
Tell me that did not give you X-Men 97 vibes.
No, that was pretty sweet. That was
He gave me that like so much so. Um, Also, not far off from his comic book accurate self.
I was curious if this was a comic that this was
There was
comic related.
a very brief difference, but I wonder if it was actually very similar. Being the fact of he's got a lot of like body modifications
Enhancements.
from technology.
Okay.
But the big thing there is the difference in the comics. But granted, it's still new. The difference from the comics to the live action is he needed a lot of like outside maintenance. So like he had to build a suit like Iron Man slash Ironheart to build around himself to kind of keep his body safe because he was kind of like destroying himself um, unintentionally. Because put it this way, his electric like the electric powers he was using causes damage to his body, which
That
again
makes sense.
shouldn't be that shocking, but it's a very like minute difference because it's all the same, like same powers, same everything. The difference is he doesn't have an outer suit yet, but he just got introduced. He probably doesn't know what's causing him damage yet.
Yeah, that
Also,
makes
the guy
sense.
who's controlling him, which I also thought was funny. Um,
In the comics?
no, I'm in the show.
Oh, well,
No, no, no.
yeah.
He's in control of himself in the comics, I believe. I mean, I would imagine maybe he could be hacked, but I don't think that's like a. To my knowledge, I didn't dig deep enough to know that. But based on what I was reading, it wasn't something that was obvious. I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but that doesn't
When
mean
when
anything.
we first found out that was controlled by Parker, I actually was hoping that he was going to destroy the flowers. I was like, oh, stick it to her, yeah, get, and then it was like it didn't work. I was like, oh,
I think that was the best part because that was the first time he was actually going to do something destructive, and
yeah,
like actually meaning like just because he had a chance to kill Riri and obviously didn't, right?
yep. And
Um,
Clown didn't rat him out, which I was.
no, and I think it had to do with their conversation
Well,
because
it had to do with the conversation with her and Riri because she
well
had doubt with Riri.
didn't yeah, but didn't they also talk to each other where they didn't know Clown was there? Didn't they say something about Rampage or no? Or was that only with Clown?
That was with Riri.
Uh, Riri was there for both conversations I'm talking about. I'm saying, was it with Riri and Clown, or was it with Riri and Ezekiel?
For Rampage.
No, when she talks about Rampage being killed, and why don't you ask Parker? That was with Clown.
So okay, so this is what Riri tells Clown to ask to ask about Rampage.
Correct.
So then after the fight,
Yes.
when Ezekiel does not kill Riri, because Riri does not mention anything about Rampage to Ezekiel.
Oh, it's when he leaves.
He leaves. Clown comes out, sees that he let her live.
Yep.
Then they go back to the hideout, and when Parker is like nagging at Ezekiel, like, give me the details. Why aren't you going into detail? That's when Clown gave the details of how Ezekiel destroyed Riri, and then later Clown did more digging, and when they were
Oh,
getting
she
ready
has
for their
Slug
next,
too.
she asked after that meeting, she was like, "Hey, do some digging," and that's in the next meeting when they were going to go for their next hit. That's when Clown. That's when she brought him up, and that's when he fired everybody and was like, "Okay, you're all gone," because
All right,
they
I
all.
I added an extra scene.
Yeah,
No, no. So
that's why
so
I was
so
confused because
so
you're
so
like,
so no. So that I remember her saying it to Clown, but I thought there was something about the Ezekiel fight that made her believe Riri more. And for some reason, I thought that was part of it, but obviously I'm wrong, and I'm okay with that. That being said, I also the one weird thing about the whole thing I will say, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit because you did mention that, um, was when she goes to the shop.
mm-hmm.
Obviously mom brings her there and everything else, blah blah blah, and we have that whole heart to heart thing and everything else. But then they start to build the suit, but they build the suit from the car. I I get it, but I feel like that was also very weak material.
Oh, like the car just isn't strong.
That was my only, and it's a. I will say the design of that suit was phenomenal.
No, no,
Um,
it looked fire.
and I
But yeah, I would
also,
agree that like the material wouldn't
yeah,
necessarily
that
be
was
strong
th-
enough.
that was my only issue, and maybe her thought process was the magic would have protected it. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say yay or nay to that.
I mean, I'll say this: like older cars are stronger than modern cars, but
That is
it's
fair.
still not strong enough to do what they expect out of it.
It's not. It's not. You don't make an Iron Man suit out of it.
Yeah,
I
that's for
think
sure.
think we could agree on that. There was also. I also like the origin story of where we get Ironheart, even though she never gets called it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ironhead, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yep. No, that was great. That whole
That whole
reliving her
hologram, the
memory.
hologram was a big
No,
emotional mess for me.
that was wild.
You know what's sad? You know what I completely thought the entire time of that, and I don't know if you did. The entire time I was like, please don't have Parker ruin this.
Oh yeah.
Because I legitimately, that was the only thing I kept thinking about was like Parker's going to show up, Parker's going to show up, and I'm glad that he didn't, obviously, because that scene was so good,
No, it was.
um, so well done. I loved everything about it. Um, but I also thought it was kind of cool too. So one of the big things that I have to say that was really well done, and the moment that this happened, I knew it was Mephisto and only Mephisto. It was when she powers up the suit with magic and the AI disappears and it's gone forever.
Mm. So you think
The
Mephisto was like legitimately the cause of that?
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't know if it was literally just like because of the magic interfering with the technology.
No, and my reasoning for that is because, especially at the end, where the bargaining is for her.
Yes, it is.
No,
Yeah.
so the reason why, because here's the thing: what I know of Mephisto more than anything else. Um, Granted, you know him more for Ghost Rider. There's nothing wrong with that. Uh, that's more than enough. But the idea is he's a deal maker. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, I get that.
But he does deals with people where he knows what he's doing. What I mean by that is he takes, like, one of the big things, right? Is he takes away the children of Scarlet Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
To get Scarlet Witch to do what he wants. Okay.
Yeah.
He gets Johnny Blaze by killing his dad to
Yep.
then get him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all this stuff compound. So like he takes away this woman's AI, which is the only thing that connects her to her friend who is deceased.
Mm-hmm.
I now have the only thing that was keeping her into reality. I now am going to be able to take her because notice the only time he ever showed up was to her was at her weakest where her AI no longer existed.
The only that like it didn't click in my head because of the fact that the magic they were doing was specifically for Dormammu and not. So like in my head, I was like, okay,
Well,
Mephisto
I'm
didn't
gonna
really have anything to do with this. I understand magic is magic.
no. I'm gonna disagree with you. The thought was it was Dormammu, but the problem was they were using the magic code from the cloak, so therefore it was Mephisto. So like you're correct, they thought it was Dormammu, but the idea was they were using the magic code, and
Well,
I'm being
so
very
like
vague with it because it's
no,
so
I no, I understand what you're saying. So like in my head, this is the what was going through my head.
hmm
Yes, the target was for the cloak, but the
yes.
spell they were using was for Dormammu. So in my head, I was like, okay, the magic for Dormammu just didn't mesh with the technology that Riri was using, so
No, I get it.
it like caused a virus that killed the AI. That was what went through my head.
No, I
Now, when you explained it a little bit better, and reminded me that Mephisto is all about deals and he manipulates and he does everything. It 100% makes so much more sense. And yeah,
right.
I should have picked up on that.
No. And
Um,
my whole thing was that was so like it was at that moment. Granted, it was the end of episode two. It was at that moment where I knew it was Mephisto.
and he
Again,
was coming for her.
no offense, like we kind of already knew it was Mephisto based on every. But my point I'm making is because they were so wishy-washy with it,
Hmm.
I was like, well, maybe they're not. But at that moment, I said, oh, he's got her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But to be fair, I would have not predicted that ending. However, um, I will say like I did predict like that was going to be the bargaining chip for
yeah.
sure. Um, the also, so now we get into the final episode, which I was in love with.
That last episode was so good. Uh,
Mephisto is so effing good. Also, can we talk about how that restaurant was the same restaurant from where he first met him,
yeah, yeah,
and
and that's they made they he made
they
his
made the
headquarters
base
over there.
there, and I'm like, that blows my mind. And then
um,
it's all about daddy issues, and it makes it so much better. I don't know why it did, but it did.
It really like both of them. Like it's one of those things where it's like they're on a pair. Like Parker has his issues, like you said, daddy issues with his father. Riri with the loss of her father and her
Stepfather
stepsister.
and stepfather, because she made it very clear it was also she lost her father. However, we don't know fully
Well, no,
exactly.
so when I said father, I was talking about her stepfather.
Well, no, I
Um,
know, but the idea was she lost like two dads. Granted, one we don't know how. The second one we do know.
I don't. In actuality, I don't remember them talking about her actual father.
She talked about it very briefly about how when she was talking about her stepdad, and it wasn't. I don't think it. I think it was in the first three episodes. To be honest with you, I think it was when I don't even know when specifically, but it had to do with thinking about her stepdad. Might have been talking to the other guy, the guy with the music.
Oh, the boyfriend.
Yeah, I think it was with him talking about how he saved not only my mom from, but also myself for losing my dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would. Yeah, okay.
Like it was a very brief, like it wasn't very detailed. It was literally like, like he, like how like he came in when nobody else was around type of thing.
Yeah, he was there for us kind of
However,
situation. Yeah.
I will say that it wasn't until these last three episodes where I realized he was there when she was very young.
Yep.
I don't think I registered that until those episodes, to the last episodes, because they
Um,
they never really said when they
I,
met.
I, I don't, I don't even think, I don't know if you did, but I didn't pick up on, that I forget his name, but the boyfriend was, Natalie's sister.
All right, so I will tell you the only reason why I knew
Mm.
was because I was looking up the cast list for when I was talking about it on my own video. So
And they had
because
like the
well,
name,
they had his
same
last
last
name,
name.
so then I
Yeah.
was like, okay, they're obviously brother and sister. So I will be honest with you, I didn't put two and two together until I read it. I mean, like I read it obviously,
Mm.
but it makes sense obviously. But I don't think I would have figured it out myself at
Yeah.
least until then.
That they
Um,
didn't. I didn't think that they had made it clear in the
they
actual episodes until
they
now.
they didn't. No, no, they definitely didn't. I figured it out because of just them putting the name in,
Yeah.
and they gave him the last name. But no, so Mephisto was incredible, great manipulator. Loved every second of it. Um, I also love him giving Parker attitude, like when he comes back.
Oh yeah, just like
He's
what?
like,
Like what do you
I
want
don't
from me?
remember this being this difficult. And he's like, I also don't remember your attitude. Like the clapbacks was perfect because he is a god. The fact that he's wasting time on mortals gets me so hyped. I don't know why, but he just
Yeah.
loves messing with them.
It's easy picking. you know, it's
Can we
form of
also talk about
entertainment for him.
his line though when he meets Riri for the first time, and after he removes her suit, and she sits down. He goes, so he when he talks about who he is, he's like, I out of the Forbes 100, I helped out 100 of them, and
Oh
he's like
yeah.
14 14 presidents, 7 popes, 3 kings. You want? He's like, and every single one just it's great.
Yep. He had influence on the worst people in the world. like
Yeah, yeah, I love every second of it too. But I
I
also
I,
love
I
his manipulation because one of the big things I will say is, and this is one thing that even I'm not confident in what it was, and I think that's what makes this so good, huh?
no. Like yeah.
So was it Mephisto reading their minds, or was it
The
Mephisto implanting the thought in their
the
head?
scene with Natalie coming back. I was about to mention that about how like what was that was like
Well,
because
was it
because
her
when
thinking
they
it, or was it him
him putting it in
putting it
her
into her?
head. Yeah. No, that's what I
Because
was
he
gonna
did
ask you what
he
your
did
thoughts were.
regardless of whether he implanted it or not, he was seeing what she was seeing. I'm only stating that I don't know if he put it there, which would not surprise me whatsoever. I'm just stating where they did such a great job where we don't know, so
Mm-hmm.
therefore they don't know. And I
Yep.
think to me made it so much better because the fact that we can't tell was the point because that means it makes it believable the characters can't tell.
Yeah. 100%. No, I agree with you.
Oh, honestly, so good because they also did a great job of it too of it's being the same scene, right? Meaning like her talking to Natalie and being like, oh, it's just an AI, like, oh, she's gone, like, I'll just rebuild her, and he's like, and then he's like, and then all of a sudden,
Or
he's like talking to her and like not in like he's not necessarily doing anything with his hands, but like he talks with his hands. But it's one of those things where it's like, and then all of a sudden it's like she touches her head, and it's like bring her back from the flesh. It can be done. I've
uh
done
huh.
it before. It's not the first
Yeah.
time.
No, that scene was absolutely incredible. Just like
Now,
it had me so stumped.
what? All right. So here's my thing. If if everything worked out the way that it was supposed to, because obviously things have changed because this came out later,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think was his ploy when she stated, "Are you only after me?" What do you think he was actually going to take from her? Because I didn't think of this until obviously this the episode aired, but based on what I know, well, without giving it, because I'll give it away. Based on what was supposed to come out also after this, made me realize why this would have led into something else. So there was something that was supposed to lead into this after. Do you remember what it was?
There was another show that came
Well,
after
we don't
this.
know if it was no. So no. It was a show slash movie that still hasn't come out yet. But it was something that was supposed to be like the direct sequel to this. When I say it, you go, "Oh yeah,
Iron Wars,
Armor Wars." But I'll give it to you.
Armor Wars.
So
Um.
my thought process was after watching this series was what he wanted from her was the one thing she didn't think she had, which was the legacy of Iron Man. So he was taking
Oh.
the armors away.
Yeah. Okay. He wanted her ability. I get. Yeah.
Well, the
Like
idea was he wasn't lying to her. He only wanted her, which is true because she now takes on the mantle of Iron Man, which means now he owns all of these suits.
he owns all of the technology that comes with it. the technology, and I mean, in this case, the technology of the AI as well. I mean,
No, absolutely. But you get my point I'm making, though. It's
yeah.
just the fact of like, so I thought that was kind of cool because that made it more sense in my head to be of what was going on with Armor Wars, and it
Hmm.
wasn't just some random dealer, which still could have been somebody influenced by Mephisto, obviously. But I mean,
Yeah.
I thought that was so well done in my mind. Still could be done. There was also something else hinted at the end of this that I don't think you knew existed, but I did. So, did you know of the potential of some other show slash unclear if it was a movie? It was there was something hinted at the end. So, obviously, the after credit scene you remember.
Yeah, Parker went to the shop, and they talked. You know, they showed the magic and continuing on, going to the special room.
So that is supposed to be the start of the Strange Academy.
Oh, okay. I remember you talking about this like very briefly a while
It
ago.
it was one of those like put it this way, it was like it was like just like Ironheart and Armor Wars. Like, is it still existing? Does it exist?
Yeah,
And we kind of had no idea. And like, so this was supposed to be one of those like split offs where it's like
it's
the
going to
magic and
continue on with that.
technology are separate now.
Yeah. Oh, I no. You know what? I remember. I
We definitely
remember
didn't know they were connected. I know that for a
there
fact. But continue.
there were three rumored shows that were coming out, and the Strange Academy was one of them, and
Yes.
it's been put on delay indefinitely. They just announced that like a month ago or 2 months ago that it's been delayed indefinitely, and we don't know what's this at the what's going to
Well,
happen
I
with it.
think the reason for that is because I think it's going to be a matter of I'm under the impression, I'll say it this way, that I think they were thinking that the Strange Doctor Strange 3 would have already been out before then.
Mm.
Cuz remember, the schedule got
Um,
really weird at one point.
no, you have to remember too, obviously, with because
No, they are cutting stuff
from
and
they're
they're
cutting
slowing it
stuff,
down.
they're slowing it down because with their plan from 2020 to now, everything has been they like put the brakes on things to slow things down and improve the quality of stuff.
Which is
So
not a bad thing whatsoever.
no, no, definitely not. But I mean, obviously, they're not gonna. Their plan was probably next year to come out with that show, but now they want to slow things down and
There's
take
also
it out.
there's also another rumor I'm hearing. So, I know you sent me the one about after Secret Wars he's out.
Oh yeah, Kevin Feige's leaving.
There's a rumor about after that Marvel's splitting. Not when I say splitting, I don't mean like different companies, but there's going to be like two focuses. So it's going to
TV
be
show versus movies.
it's unclear right
Hmm.
now because it could be that or it could be it's unclear. It's
I know.
but
I
I think
remember.
I think
I
they might
think.
be doing like the B level shows and like part of the universe and then the movies slash shows up here. Like it's
Well,
going to be like two separate things.
I know that they were talking for a while that they were going to probably be splitting it in terms of movies was going to be the big heroes, and then the TV shows were going to be the street level heroes.
Well,
So
I think that's probably what they meant by that, but it's still unclear.
it's yeah.
But the way it was making it seem to me was not necessarily street level, but like lower level heroes in general, where they were dealing with their own stuff that was kind of influenced by what was going on. Very similar to like Agents of Shield,
Hmm.
and all the Defenders. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same concept. Also, very much looking forward to just the thought of that. But also, there was another, because we're bringing this up. I wanted to talk about this because there's really not much more to talk about. Oh, did you see Mephisto's real face?
Like the demonic face on what's his name?
The spoon.
Oh no, I didn't see it on the spoon. No. I'll have to go back and look.
So when he's eating with Riri,
Uh
it's
huh.
only with Riri.
Okay.
There's a moment where you see the reflection of him through the spoon, and it is his demonic form.
Oh, I have to look at that again.
Honestly, it was so well done. Anyway, I'm sad that you didn't see that, but at the same time, put it this way: all the generated images that we've seen of like the leaks of Mephisto, basically
Mhm.
what he looks like.
Oh, okay.
and not in a bad way. No, no, no. But it was like it was obviously live action, and it was just well done.
Yeah.
Um,
And
another
obviously they're hinting at a season 2 for this with how it ended.
well, you know what I've also noticed? I don't know if we're going to be getting a direct sequel, or if it's going to be something related to it where they come into it, very similar to like
They
WandaVision
could pick
and
it, yeah.
Agatha all along.
They could pick it up in another show, or they could pick it up. I mean, if Armor Wars still happens, they could pick it up in there.
No, no, absolutely. You get my
Um,
point I'm making. I think one of the big things that they've done a great job of is sequel series instead of like a sequel season, because they've been doing a little bit more of that, which I'm not mad about.
yeah.
Granted, so I'm very curious to see that continue. But anything else you want to talk about Ironheart? Because there is something about the Avengers I want to bring up.
No, I mean, I thought this show was exceeded my expectations like tenfold. I thought it was a great show.
Oh, I
I,
100% agree with you. 100%.
you know,
My expectations were low for many reasons, just because of how late it was and everything
with
else.
everything going
But it
on.
was
Yep.
really good. And like I said, my only complaint, I mean, we talked a little bit about the pacing slash CGI in the first episode,
The camera
the
angles
camera
and
angle, sorry.
whatever.
But the only thing I would say was a detriment, in my opinion, and I'm being very particular here. Like this didn't ruin anything completely. But the only bad thing out of these three episodes was the fact of like them hinting that maybe it's not Mephisto, even though he's
Oh,
been like it was clear as day he was in this show.
well,
Just because
your butt hurt about it because they've gotten you so many times with this that it's like I'm gonna get got again, and that's the only. Let's be real. That's the only reason you're upset
so
about it.
the real reason why I wanted you to text me after every episode was because the first episode of the three was there's a 50-50 shot that it's Dormammu. And then all of a sudden
Uh-huh.
it's 47%. And I'm like, it better be 0%. I'm telling you that right now, it better be zero. I'm like yelling at the TV because I'm like, hey, I swear. I'm like, I swear, because I wanted to text you being like, I hate this so much. But then I was like, it's going to ruin it for you because it's like, I'm not, like, I didn't want to give anything away because it was like, it did
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it did everything. But no, it did a great job, and but the reveal was so Mephisto was just so good. He's such a good actor, and I
No,
loved him as the Devil Knight.
I agree. The actor really captured that him very well. I thought that he played that part really well.
Like, and
But
what's weird is Mephisto is like the equivalent of Trigon. The difference being obviously is he gets to go to the mortal realm a lot more often, but he
yep.
does it to mess with people, and like he's literally he can mess with the multiverse with his attacks. Like
Mm.
he's gone up against has he gone up against was it Galactus he went against? I believe it was Galactus he went up against and they caused a multiversal problem. But my point I'm making is just like he is at that power level and yet we see him in human form being
Just
like,
yeah.
"Hey, your best friend died. You give me your soul and I'm going to gladly let her live."
Hmm.
Like it is so bizarre to me, and it's so well done. But anyway, the Avengers piece I wanted to bring up. So there's
No,
some.
I mean, yeah.
So the Avengers thing that I wanted to bring up was somebody was talking about how in the Avengers that you see when it's a full circle they win, and when it's a partial circle they lose. So like one of the big things is they consider Age of Ultron a loss in the theory.
How? How?
Um, the meteor still hit the ground and caused a lot of devastation.
Oh, okay.
And it
Yeah,
was of their creation.
that's fair. That part is fair.
So anyway,
They
so the first
won,
one,
but they still lost.
so the first one is a full circle, they win. Second one's a
Mm.
partial circle, they lose. End game, no, not end game. Sorry,
Infinity
Infinity
War.
War, half circle. End game, full circle.
Okay.
Doomsday, full circle. Secret Wars, half circle. And so they're going to defeat Doom in Doomsday and lose in Secret Wars.
Which then, if the rumors are correct, after Doomsday, after Secret Wars is supposed to be a reboot,
And a split
so
almost. So yeah.
it would make sense. It would make
Like
sense.
so I wanted to bring that up because I was like and it was granted they did not go into detail of like you just did of that. They just said that it shows that they're going to win in Doomsday but lose in Secret War. But like no detail, like the guy didn't go into detail of like what he was expecting to happen. But I just thought that was so cool because I was like, I would have never, and it's in the advertisement, so it's like meaning like it's in the logo, and I'm like, they
Yeah.
flipped both logos, and I'm like, if that is true, that is incredible.
No,
In the
that's
sense
wild
of
if that's true.
like a nod to the audience without knowing, like imagine if that is first. Imagine that's true, and they do it on like maybe they didn't do it on purpose necessarily, but then they made it on purpose, meaning like, well, this is what happens already, so why don't we just keep that momentum going? Oh, so good. Like the marketing team is so good.
The way that they are able to do that kind of stuff is they're pretty on point with that stuff with manipulating the fan theories and even going along with it. Like
And
they've
to be
done.
fair, they could have purposely done that, and then it'd be the opposite.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's just my assumption for right now. But I thought that was kind of cool. I wanted to bring up to you because we actually had some time. But if you are ready to, my friend, would you like to go over your character spotlight? And is it themed to the new movie coming out, or is it themed to a holiday?
It is not themed to either of those. Um,
I'm going home.
I I looked up I mean, I've gone over the characters for Superman already, so I didn't really, I talked about um the
Actually, yeah,
two.
you. I think you
Yeah,
legitimately have. I think the only ones you haven't are like the ones that are like well known, like Superman, Lois Lane.
yeah. I'm not going to talk
Actually,
about
the
Superman and
well,
Lex
I
Luthor.
no, no, no. I know, but I just find that funny because you're absolutely right. Because I think you've even talked about. No, you didn't talk about crypto, but I mean, but anyway, continue.
I mean, if you want, I can pull up crypto
No,
right now.
no,
I
no,
mean,
no, no, no. Don't. I don't. I want to hear what you have because I'm curious now.
well, I mean, if I'll give you the choice because I'll pull it up if you want me to.
No, what's it? Who is it? Who is it? Speak.
The character that I pulled that I was going to talk about because the show is going to be coming out soon. It's not Peacemaker. It was um Alan Scott, the first Green Lantern.
I'm in.
Okay. So, he was first introduced in July of 1940. Um
I actually know this guy.
I mean, he is the first. Like I said, he's the first Green Lantern. So I just, most people nowadays only know of the big three.
Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and so
Kai, uh,
Guy
uh,
Gardner or
Guy Gardner. Thank you.
okay. Because I was gonna say I didn't know Kyle until recently.
Kyle Rayner is also like he's also a big
Did you
one
guys see
too.
that
But
death battle, by the way?
I do.
That was
But
such a good death battle.
but obviously the other three are the more big ones in modern day.
No, 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 absolutely. I get that. I get that. Alan Scott was also not what we think of as the Green Lantern of today either,
Um,
which you'll talk about.
but I will go into detail. So, thousands of years ago, a mythical green flame fell to Earth in ancient China as a meteor. A voice in the flame predicted that it would act 3 times: once to bring death, once to bring life, and once to bring power. For the first prophecy, a lamp maker crafted the green metal of the meteor into a lamp. In fear, as punishment for what they thought sacrilege, the local villagers killed him, only to be destroyed by a sudden burst of the green flame. For the second, in modern times, the lamp came into the hands of a patient of a mental institution who fashioned the lamp into a modern train lantern. The green flame restored his sanity and gave him a new life. For the third, by 1940, after having already fulfilled the first two-thirds of this prophecy, the lantern fashioned from the meteoric metal fell into the hands of Alan Scott, a young railroad engineer.
Just
Following a rail
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just find that so funny because like railroad engineer, granted in the 40s was a big thing, but like nowadays, like would you consider that engineering?
I mean, it's
I
still
no no no.
technically,
Well, no, no, but you get my point though, because you wouldn't call them. You would call them other things. You wouldn't call them a railroad engineer because it's
Yeah,
advanced enough where it's now different technology.
yeah. I mean, I'll give you that. I mean, I guess it's still under the terms of railroad engineer. Like if if you're
I
going
would
for
imagine
like,
it's the same concept of like speed, track, and everything else. But
yeah.
my point I'm making is it's not like your stereotype. It's not like the railroad of yesteryear.
Never thought of that actually. So, um, let's see. Following a railroad bridge collapse, the Flame instructs Scott in how to fashion a ring from its metal to give him fantastic powers as the superhero Green Lantern. He adopts a colorful costume of red, purple, brown, yellow, and green. He becomes a crime fighter in his first adventure, defeating the crooks who caused the accident. He also discovers his power's weakness to wood when he is bludgeoned with a club. Allen is found as a member of Justice Society of America and is its second chairman. Scott uses his ring to fly, walk through solid objects by moving through the fourth dimension, paralyze or blind people Huh?
No, I was thinking to myself. I was like, I knew he could go through objects, but I didn't realize it was going through another dimension.
Yeah. I didn't realize that either. So, paralyze or blind people temporarily, hypnotize them, create rays of energy, melt metal as with a blowtorch, and cause dangerous objects to glow, among other things. It
Which can we
could,
just talk about why that makes me think like Lamplighter was like Green Lantern of the original Green Lantern?
yeah, no,
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's
it
like
definitely
because it's like I was like, oh, it's a tie to Green Lantern, and like it is, but it's like the original Green Lantern though.
the
It's just
first
like,
one. Uh huh.
yeah, and it just it makes me giddy inside. Sorry.
Saying it even more so, like going through this is like, yeah, this is very much Lamplighter.
No, but I know that's what I'm saying. Like that's just the first thought that came to my head was Lamplighter.
Although I have to say, I didn't realize he had a weakness to wood.
I thought it was only yellow objects. I didn't realize it was wood also.
Yeah,
Like there
it
was one
was
point where it was like anything painted yellow, he would be weakened.
the '40s, man.
Oh no, that's kind of my point.
We're
My apologies for interrupting again.
perfectly fine. It could also allow him and others to time travel. Occasionally, he uses it to read minds or create solid objects and force fields in the manner usually associated with fellow Green Lantern Hal Jordan. His ring could protect him against any object made of metal, but would not protect him against any wood or plant based objects. During the 1940s, Green Lantern seemed to alternate between serious adventure, particularly when Solomon Grundy, his nemesis, appeared, and light comedy, usually involved with his sidekick, Dobie Dickles. Toward the end of his Golden Age adventures, he got a sidekick and companion pet in Streak the Wonder Dog, a heroic canine in the mold of Rin Tin Tin in Lassie, who is later retconned as a member of the Space Canine Patrol agents and the Legion of Super Pets.
Yeah, I my biggest issue with that era was everyone had to have a pet sidekick.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like Ace the Bat Dog, Crypto the Super Dog. There was even a super cat at one point too, Klaus. I don't know
I
how old.
do not remember that one.
I might have
I
only been
thought
in it might have only been in the show Crypto the Super Dog, but there was a
probably.
show where there was a super cat, and
I'll be
I
honest.
I can't do it.
I didn't realize that Streak was Green Lantern. I thought Streak was the Flash. So that actually, this actually, that
Actually, that would I now that you say that, I would have thought
would have
Streak
made more
was.
sense, right?
No, no, no. The best part is I didn't even question it. I was just like, and then it's like now that you say that, I'm like, no, the name would fit the Flash more.
I thought when because I think Streak was in Crypto the TV show,
I think they all were. All of the animals were.
I thought Streak was Flash. So unless they changed it and it just happened to be, it was originally Green Lantern and they changed him to the Flash after because it made more sense. But I I thought it was Flash. Um, but
No, I don't have an answer for you. That throws me off. But I don't like the idea of it. I get it. I just don't like it.
I mean,
I will say this. I have no problem with people having pets. I will say
mm,
that. My
mm,
issue is it's like because then it's like in my mind you then have a dog fighting, and that's just to me My
Actually,
point.
you know what? I'll actually bring this up because now that you're mentioning dogfighting, they had a scene in Superman where Ultraman fought Crypto and like seriously hurt Crypto,
My point.
and they removed the scene because the test audience hated it.
But you get my point I'm making. Like that.
Oh yeah,
My issue with like I here's the thing. I think I've said this many a times. Although I will say the CGI for Crypto looks very good. I don't like Crypto as a character. I also don't like Ace, the Bat Dog.
yeah, yeah.
My whole thing is it's I don't like the idea of them having animals that are then fighting crime with them or
Mhm.
stopping because in my mind the first thing I think of is oh my gosh, now I have to worry about an animal. I'm okay with Superman dying. I'm not okay with Crypto.
No, I mean it's actually really interesting that like in modern audience, if you want to piss off an audience, you kill the pet.
Yes.
And like back in the day, it was like, oh yeah, let's just kill the animals, whatever, it's no big deal. And I mean, we
No, no,
Halloween,
100%.
the first or second Halloween movie, we like even in the Rob Zombie remake, that we got a full killing of the dog,
Yep.
but it's like, uh,
No, no, here's the thing.
it's just like nowadays, it's like you tread lightly if you kill pets.
Yeah, I just and again, I know that's not their thought process with Crypto and I get it, but like that's the only thing I can think of is cuz it's like he's going to get hurt. And
Yeah,
like what veterinarian is going to be able to work on this thing? I'm sorry.
that's true. That part is true.
Like, come on, he sneezes and you're gonna die.
I mean, you don't really need to bring him to a veterinarian, and luckily, like Superman, you just put him under the sun and he heals. But I mean, I get your point.
No, but yeah, I don't like the idea of it. I hate it.
I think it would make more sense with like Ace, Ace the Bat Dog, where
So here's my
you.
thing. He's the only one that makes the most sense with me, but that's because he does like Superman. Batman doesn't bring him out there. Ace just comes out himself.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
granted, he pulls a Batman and does what he wants. But my point I'm making is just like I I I have less of a problem with Ace because Batman doesn't use him in that way.
Yeah, I mean,
I know Superman technically doesn't either, but it's like I don't know. The way they show Ace is more of like I'm gonna pull you out of the fire, and not I'm gonna go punch and kick Joker, who's gonna try to hit me with a who's gonna try to hit me with a crowbar.
I mean, most of them are gonna see a Rottweiler coming running at you. You're gonna run away anyway. So it's
But my exactly kind of my point. So it's like I just that's my hot take. I don't like the super pets. That's that's always
I
something I
my
don't like.
my whole thing with Superman and the super pet thing is in general is it's always bothered me with Superman supposed to be like come here alone. They got away with adding Kara, which I think it still worked, but now you have randomly a dog survived your planet's explosion, and he managed to come to Earth
Because he can fly.
however many years later. That one is like, okay, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, funny. I never thought of it that way. But that does make sense. For whatever reason, I don't think I ever thought he was from Krypton.
No, you didn't.
No, you know what's funny? I thought he was like genetically modified with like I always thought he was like an experiment of them trying to replicate Superman, but they were testing on animals first, and then it turned into Crypto. That's honestly what I always thought.
No, nope,
No,
nope.
no, I
He's
obviously
from
got no,
Krypton.
no, no, no. I like my thought better.
I mean, it makes more. I would like Crypto a little bit more if that were the case.
I don't like him in my own fake world, and I hate him even more now that you told me he's actually from Krypton.
Yep.
Um. So yeah, we're gonna. I interrupted again with streak. Sorry.
Straight. I was like, Stripe. Who's Stripe? All right.
That was
All
not
right.
me. That was you.
Where did I leave off?
You're talking about streak.
Okay. Justice Society of America. A part of Scott's early history is filled out with retroactive continuity. Um, in the All Star Squadron, in All Star Squadron, it states that the Justice League of America fought the villain Ian Karkull, who inadvertently imbued them with life energy stolen from an innocent victim. The energy slowed their aging, allowing Scott and several other members, as well as their spouses, to remain active in the late 20th century without infirmity. The events of that incident also led Scott, who had failed to save the victim from whom the energy was stolen, to take a leave of absence from the Justice Society, explaining why the character vanished from the roster for a time. Scott was a member of the Justice Society in 1951 when the team was investigated by the Joint Congressional Un-American Activities Committee, a fictional organization based on the real life House Un American Activities Committee. Okay. They were accused of possible communist sympathies and asked to reveal their identities. The members declined the request, and many of the members retired in the 1950s. The team rebands in the 1960s with Scott as a member, though little is known of their adventures during this time, save for the stories about their team ups with the Justice League of America, the parallel world Earth 1, and cross universe adventures Scott shares with Earth 1's Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. It was eventually revealed that in the late 1960s, Scott marries the woman with the dual identity Rose and Thorn. They have a pair of children who would grow up to become the superheroes Jade and Obsidian of the team Infinity Inc. In the 80s, Scott married his reformed former nemesis Molly Main, also known as the Harlequin, reconciling with his sons and daughter. Um, just so you know, the Harlequin is the name of she is a four clowned theme character.
Okay.
Um, but in the post crisis, the last days of the Justice Society of America, um, it tells how Adolf Hitler caused a massive wave of destructive energy to erupt over the post crisis Earth in 1945. Scott and the Justice League of America, fresh from burying their Earth 2 comrades, Robin and Huntress, enter into a limbo dimension to fight an eternally recurring Ragnarok. In Green Lantern Volume 3, there was they attempted to retcon Alan Scott's origin and power ring to accommodate the changes made by the Crisis of Infinite Earths. In this story, Alan's ring originally belonged to a Green Lantern named Yalin Gur, who was so favored by the Guardians of the Universe that they removed the yellow impurity from his ring, which the Guardians deliberately placed in all Green Lantern's rings to limit their power and could be removed at their discretion. However, Gur abused his power and interfered with the inhabitants of ancient China. The Guardians then substituted a weakness for wood that allowed the local peasants to successfully attack and mortally wound Gur with simple wooden clubs. Gur flew into the sky and raged against the Guardians. His body burned in the atmosphere, becoming the green metallic meteorite that ultimately became Alan Scott's lantern. Gur's spirit also possessed the metal, promising death in his rage and life when he realized his mistake, the first two prophecies of the green metal, which were fulfilled. When Alan received the lantern, the spirit directed Alan to create the power ring and persona of the Green Lantern, complete with the ring's weakness to wood. Uh, Through the machinations of Wave Rider, the Justice League of America teammates are able to leave Limbo and begin living in the post-crisis Earth they had fought to save. The Missionaries is followed by the Justice League of America, which shows how Alan Scott adjusts to his new world. In the short-lived series, the Justice League of America's fight the newest incarnation of the Ultra Humanite, as well as Paul Sir Germain and Kulak the Sorcerer. Scott retcons with his wife and children, stating that Molly is pretty much handling things at the company and that Jade and Obsidian are fine off doing their own thing in Hollywood. Not too interested in being superheroes. Uh, Eventually, the series ended not with the team disbanding, but with the members gathering together at their first formal meeting after returning home. Alan allows Guy Gardner and a small group of heroes to investigate the mysterious distress from Oa, only to be defeated by Hal Jordan, who now calls himself Parallax. Having been driven mad by the destruction of his home, Coast City. After the confrontation, Alan discovers that an artist, Kyle Rayner, inherits the remaining Green Lantern ring. After returning the young hero, after meeting the young hero, he informs him of the situation with Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. During the 0 Hour event, Alan witnesses the villain extant. Um, Alan witnesses the villain incapacitate and kill several of his Justice League of America teammates. After suffering defeat by the villain, Alan gives Kyle his original ring, passing the name Green Lantern to him. Alan's ring was, which later his ring was destroyed by Parallax. For a time, the Star Heart became part of Scott's body, and he adopts the name Sentinel, becoming a founding member of the new Justice League of America. Thanks to the rejuvenate properties of the Starheart, Scott's physical body is again temporarily revitalized, so he resembles a man in his 30s or early 40s. This drives his wife Molly, who has not been affected, to sell her soul to the demon Neuron in exchange for youth. Alan enters the demonic realm with help from entities such as Phantom Stranger and Zatanna, and with Kyle Rayner's aid, managed to win Molly's soul back, reuniting Molly's essence with her soulless being. He has since been physically altered again, so that he more closely resembles his true chronological age. Um, Sorry, there was a mosquito. Um, He returns to using the name Green Lantern during the Justice League of America's battle with Mordru. He continues to fight crime in his original costume and identity, rebuilding a ring and serving as an elder statesman to the Justice Society of America and to the superhero community in general. There's a lot more on him. I just wanted to give a couple the origins of this character. Like there's pages on
I
him.
would imagine so because they do go back to the old guys a lot.
Yeah, he's been
Um,
around for a long time.
and he's the
Um,
original Green Lantern. He's been around. I always thought, and again, I always find it funny because I legitimately always thought that it was yellow objects that would weaken him. I didn't know it was actually wood.
I didn't remember it was wood. I just that when I read that, I was like, this is so funny.
Because I always remember reading that there would be people who would paint things yellow to cause him damage.
I mean, they were meant after when they first rebooted him, like when they were
The
talking
yellow
about
kind of
they put the yellow in the rings to keep them under control. But even still, it was apparently always wood. Even like
I know that's
uh,
so weird to me. I would never have guessed that.
yeah, something so simple.
Especially because he's made out of fire in a weird way.
Yeah, right.
Um,
But the reason why I brought him up, obviously, like I said, the Lantern show is going to be coming up. He's the original Lantern. There's a rumor that he might appear in the show. Um, if he does, he'll probably be an old wise character. So I think that would be cool. Um, but yeah,
I had a spider. How are you
oh
getting all these little spiders around? I'm kind of getting nervous. But anyway, no, that makes sense. I mean, there's the chance of him being in it. I mean,
yeah,
it would obviously be an old one or a retired one, depending on how you look at it.
yep. Um,
Very curious about it. Overall, I mean, very nicely done. Next
there
week
was
is
just so you know, I did look up what holidays were today. July 6th, because this is when we were recording. But the national holiday for today is National Kissing Day, and I didn't think there was a good good hero for that. So I was like, you know what?
No,
let's look at.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So next week we're gonna be doing any trailers that come out, which there might actually be some. Um, just because these new movies are finally out, are gonna be out, so there might be some new ones coming.
The next one, if we get a trailer, I feel like it might be for Peacemaker.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But it's still
Yeah,
something. Because next week we're gonna be talking about Superman. Superman.
finally. Cannot wait.
Yeah. So we'll be watching that together. We'll go over the movie, and we'll also be going over any after credit scenes if they do exist. And then obviously any trailers that we talk about, and then we'll end with a character spotlight from me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following week we'll have to figure something out for the in between.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a small break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally just 1 week, but yes. And then we go into Fantastic Four.
and then a break.
Yeah, a little bit longer break than I thought because it's the end of August.
Yeah.
But anyway, for now, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.